Level 1. You are in a glass room. City lights drip like distant constellations. A briefcase sits between you and the man with the watch. He opens it with casual reverence. A stack of numbers, a neat cold promise, 1 million. It sits on velvet and authority. It smells like air tickets, like rent paid, like a worry cleared. Your pulse does something odd. It races, then tethers. You see faces you could feed. You see a breath of relief that could be inhaled tonight. The man waits. He smiles the smile of someone who makes other people's choices for a living. He explains the terms. No strings, he says. No strings that matter. You listen. Every word is polished, predictable. Every lawyering clause is a small, soft cage. You think of the launch pad you slept on. You think of the half-finished manifesto in your notebook. You think of the prototype that still creaks when it breathes. The room narrows to the empty space inside your chest. Level 2. You imagine spending that money and never risking again. You picture a life rearranged around comfort. You picture the headlines that say you chose smart. You picture silence where your work would have been loud. You taste safety, and it tastes like warm milk. But then your vision rises like smoke. It refuses to fold. It has rules of its own. It is stubborn, burning blue. You see the project as it could be, not the version edited down to appease the market, not the version rebranded into someone else's comfortable language. You see the truth of it. You see the people it could reach who don't yet know to reach back. You hear the voice that started it, thin and angry, whispering that this was never about easier bills. This was about disruption. This was about changing the map. You weigh the million against an unknown that is unruly and alive. You feel the ledger of your life tuning to a different key. Level 3. You remember late nights with a single lamp. You remember the first prototype that failed spectacularly. It stank of smoke and genius and stubbornness. You remember the friend who believed without knowing why. You remember a rejection email that read like a challenge. You remember the way your hands shook the week you decided not to quit. Those memories are not naive. They are your contract. They are proof that you will not sell the first draft of your soul. You map the consequences. There will be rent notices. There will be late-night doubts. There will be people who call you reckless. There will be days when you are tired of defending an idea that is only you. But there will also be nights when you breathe because a stranger used your work to change a small life. There will be a lineage of small victories that add up to a new shape. The million is soft. Your vision is sharp. Which will you worship tonight? Level 4. You gather advisors like warm coats. They hand you spreadsheets and probability curves. They speak of dilution and control and exit strategies. They want to pin your dream to a map with neat borders. You watch them try to tattoo certainty onto the unknown. You ask yourself the question everyone asks in silence. Is this hubris or is this fidelity? Is the refusal a tantrum or a compass? You sit with that question until it stops echoing and becomes a quiet fact. You measure not just dollars but distance, not just comfort but integrity. You tally the cost of compromise. You imagine waking up 5 years from now and recognizing the person in the mirror. You imagine telling them you sold the thing that made you brave. You imagine their face. It keeps you still. Level 5. You stand. The room holds its breath. You say, "No, thank you." Your voice is calm. It is final. The man blinks. He becomes a study in negotiation tactics. He leans forward. But you have rehearsed against this exact pull. You do not yield to the flicker of easy rescue. You are not ungrateful. You are in love with a future that hasn't written you its thank you note yet. You let the briefcase close. It makes a soft, inevitable sound. There is an awkwardness that follows like spilled wine. You walk out and the city reclaims you with noise and possibility. Level 6. The headlines will not notice. The paycheck will not arrive. Friends will shake their heads. Family will ask if you are sure. Doubt will visit like a persistent relative. But also the corners of your life will bloom. You will work in schoolrooms and basements and cafes. You will test and fail and try again. You will lose clients and gain collaborators. You will keep the dream small enough to carry and large enough to change things. There will be nights of joy so fierce they astonish you. There will be moments when someone says, "This was made for me." Those moments are tax-free. They do not fit on a ledger. They fit on your bones. You learn that belief is a muscle. Refusal is not the end. It is an exercise. You build momentum out of tiny, stubborn yeses. Level 7. Years later, you stand on a different stage. You are tired. And you are whole. The product is real. The community is loyal. The critics are kinder because your work persisted. You did not get rich overnight. You did not sell out. You proved a stubborn, quiet theorem. Value is not the same as price. You did not waste the million. You spent it in your head and in your nights and in the grit of trying. It taught you what you could not hire away: discipline, taste, stamina. You made choices that smelled of compromise for a while, yes, but never the final choice. And then maybe the money comes again. Maybe it's bigger. Maybe it arrives on different terms. Or maybe it never arrives. Either way, you have something harder to buy. You have a story that knows its author. You have scars and plans. You have the stubborn insistence of someone who stayed true. Finale. You chose the hard ledger of creation over the easy comfort of an offer. You chose a future written in risk rather than a present padded with cash. You did not turn down $1 million to be romantic. You turned it down because the thing you are building requires you to remain whole. Because when you sign away the right to call something yours, you often sign away the right to know what it might have become. Tonight, when the city hums and the lamp is low, you open your notebook. You sketch the next impossible thing. You whisper to it like it is a sleeping child. You promise to feed it with time, tenacity, and terrible, glinting faith. Outside, the world will always offer you the safer fire. You will always choose this, the cold, bright truth. You walk forward with pockets not as full, but a horizon not conquered. You still have everything you need: courage, conviction, and a vision that no bought comfort can replicate. You chose the vision. You chose yourself.